and I've always said I've always been a struggle with religion and God, because I know that there are more of them out there, but I think I'm this close, if I'm not already there, to being a black atheist. I don't know that I believe in God. I haven't completely crossed over, but I'm like Anakin Skywalker. I'm so close to the dark side that I'm starting to feel like my faith in religion and humanity and what this all is supposed to mean is a bunch of bullshit.
Really?
Yeah.
Faith and humanity.
Yeah. Because it doesn't make sense to me, because I hear, and listen, I know for a comic, one of the most challenging things to do is to try to do material that's deemed taboo and risque. And one of the biggest challenges that I want to take on is to be able to go in front of a black audience and say, I don't believe in God, which is blasphemous. Because we in the black community, like Richard Pryor said, black people, we tight with God.
Yeah.
That's
our boy.
And I just don't understand how we as a people historically put so much faith into this thing called God, but yet for 400 years we were in chains. For 400 years we prayed. For 400 years, black people have a saying in church where we go, the pastor comes out and he goes, God is good, ain't he? And we say all the time. All the time.
God is good.
All the time. 400 years, all the time. The 60s, all the time. The 4 black girls that died in the church bombing in Alabama, all the time. The 9 black people shot by Dylan Roof in church, praising God. You would think if the one place you are safe, a safety zone, is in his house, and if God and the angels can't protect you in his house all the time, give me some of the time, but not all the time.
God is good some of the time.
And I don't know whether God is black or white, but here's my thinking. Let's just say, okay, God is black. And people, slaves are praying and, oh, my Lord, 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 Lord. Freedom gonna come one day. Well, freedom is inevitable. We aren't gonna stay slaves forever. So you mean to tell me 400 years later, finally being free, now we want to go, he might not come when you call, but he's always on time. If 400 years is on time, that's tardiness. So if God is real, he's a nigga because he's late. And if God is white, you putting all your praise into this white God who clearly didn't give a fuck about you either. So which is he? Is he black? Is he white? If he's black, why wouldn't you look out for your own people? If he's white, now you showing love to this figure who kept you locked up. None of that makes sense to me.
And you said you haven't totally crossed over?
No, because I look at things. I look at things like when I travel, and I've been all over the world, and I look at certain places, and I look at the beauty of certain things in terms of the earth and just animal and nature, and I go, it's got to be a God.
Right.
When I'm, and certainly when I'm into pussy, I go, there's got to be a God. This feels so good. But then I pick up a newspaper and I read how a 4-year-old girl gets kidnapped, raped, and murdered. Now I know they say God gives man free will. If God gives man free will, okay, I get that. But like the mafia, women and kids should be off limits.
Yeah.
It's nothing more terrible. I have 3 kids. My youngest daughter is 5. Love her to death. I couldn't imagine what it must be like for a child to feel the terror of I'm losing my life. Where's my mother and father?
Yeah.
Someone help me. And if God can't step in at that moment and go, look, I know I give man free will, but this is a kid. All bets is off. So I don't, that doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
Too much of what goes on in this life does not make sense to me. I don't know if I'm overthinking it. I don't know that because I'm getting older, I start questioning my own mortality. When you're young, you're arrogant.
Yeah.
You think you're gonna live forever. You think you're gonna look like a movie star forever.
Yeah.
Your shit don't stink. You're the baddest and the best in the world. But the older you get, and your back starts hurting, and you're making noise when you get out of bed, and what's this pain on my knee? And you start questioning your mortality, and you realize through being humble, shit is weird. It's weird, man.
Yeah. Speaking of being young, you started comedy at 14, but you were on Def Comedy Jam at 16.
Yeah.
And I have so many questions about that moment.
Yeah.
Because you look so confident. I think, and we all, if you were Def Comedy Jam fans, you have to have remembered Aries Spears being on Def Comedy Jam.
Maybe.
I did. absolutely remember your jokes without a doubt. And the Michael Jackson bit just blows your mind. And the cartoons, fucking like that. I can't forget that. You know what I'm saying? So my first question is, take me back to that moment and how you felt as a 16-year-old getting on the stage with those comedy legends who are, I'm sorry, now legends, but then they, everybody was kind of trying to make it.
Back before they finally did away with DVDs and record stores. I remember I was in a record store and they had the best of volumes of Def Jam. And now, you can go on YouTube and watch, looking at some of the old Def Jam performances, Bill Bellamy, Bernie Mac, Cedric DL, myself, Chappelle, Eddie Griffin.
And I don't even remember how long ago it was until I look back at clips and I go, damn, because you was about 150 pounds lighter.
Yeah, I was also.
I was like, damn, was it that long ago?
I was 16. Yeah, that long ago. But when you look at everybody's set and everybody's energy, you could see the rawness. Like Bill Bellamy, I was messing with him. That's my man because we came up in Jersey together. I was telling him every other word out your mouth was, yo, that's crazy, right?
Right, yeah.
We just all had this nervous energy, the way we worked the stage. Cut to where we are now, we're like jazz musicians. Everything is cool.
Yeah.
And it ain't a put on, it ain't a front. Like we try to be cool, but and I don't want to say mastered the art because you're always trying to evolve, but we've gotten comfortable in our skin. So before where it was nervous energy and, yo, that's crazy, right? And saying the same thing over and over. Now it's sit back, play the music, let it flow. And you work and you find your rhythm and you're not so antsy. But my mother's a jazz and blues singer, so she got me into the industry, thank God. And she sang with Lionel Hampton, the legendary jazz artist before he passed. So growing up, I listened to a lot of that John Coltrane and Miles Davis. And my first impression actually was Louis Armstrong, because that's what my mother and father would listen to when they would be fucking. So,
wait, how do you know that they were having sex though, Aries?
Whenever they played Louis, the door would rattle.
What was the door rattling from the music, or was the door rattling because your daddy was
both? My daddy was a monster. But I knew when I heard outside the room, potato, you say tomato. Let's call the whole thing off. I said, Pops is getting it in, man. It's getting it in. Yeah.
So take me back to that moment, though. Do you remember your feelings of being backstage waiting for your turn?
Not really. It was just all surreal, and I.
Most name brand bars and body washes you rub on your skin are classified by the FDA as synthetic.
I've done this in interviews before, and I'm gonna do it again. I know that Stan Latham and Russell Simmons get a lot of the credit for Def Jam because they're the guys whose basically names were on the bill. But the brainchild and the genius behind Def Jam that gave all of us our starts was Bob Sumner out of New Jersey. Had it not been for Bob, because Bob planted the seed and brought it to Russell and to Stan. So had it not been for Bob, a lot of us would have never come to be. So, but I mean, not to take anything away from Stan and Russell, because whatever it takes to get it done, we get it done. But Bob deserves some credit.
What happened between 16 and Mad TV? Between that time, what was happening?
Between 16 and Mad TV were the good years. I mean, I was young. I made a lot of money, and I was trying to come into my own. I was still a young child who hadn't been diddled yet by his uncle. I mean,
oh my God!
And when I say
I don't
that,
even know if I'm supposed to laugh at that.
And I mean, when I say that, I mean the industry. The industry.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So when you first come into this business, you have a certain amount of naivete, and there's an innocence about you because you don't know shit. Because
at the time you all did Def Comedy, you were on Def Comedy Jam. They weren't paying the comedians, right?
No, they paid you, but it wasn't going to change your life. But that's not why you did it.
Right.
You did it for the love of the game and, to get your name and your face out there and exposure. The rest will take care of itself. But yeah, it was a wild time for me because I came into this game without anybody schooling me. My mother only knew so much because she had only went so far, and music is a different beast from comedy.
Right.
My father he had dreams and aspirations of show business, but he never did it. So I was kind of the first one and only one in the family. I was the first one to ever buy a house and, come in, hit the 50% tax bracket.
Right.
and make that kind of money.
You were making that kind of money at 17, 18 years old?
I made over $1 million before I was 21. You know, because back then they gave you what was called holding deals.
Mm-hmm.
So the networks, they don't do them anymore, but back then they would give you X amount of dollars to take you off the market and lock you up for a whole year to
Much
try to
like
create.
the record industry, you know.
I guess so,
Yeah,
but to try to
they pay
create
you
a
to put
show
your stuff
for
on
you.
the shelf. Yeah.
And for like 5 years, I went through every network. I went through ABC, NBC, ABC, Fox, maybe four years, where they just locked me up, but nothing ever came about it.
Right.
So it was like every time I had a holding deal, I had 200,000. So they would 200,000, 200,000, 200,000. So after all the holding deals, you know, I made $1 million, but I never had anything to show for it creatively. So it was bittersweet, you know, because you make that money, but then it's like, you know, the real money is in an actual show.
Yeah.
Syndication, producing, you're not just starring and dancing the dance.
Yeah. I was going to ask, we kind of sort of have Mad TV in common.
Okay.
The only difference is you landed the gig and I didn't.
Oh, you auditioned for it?
I auditioned for Mad TV
Did you really?
4 times.
Is that right?
4 times.
Okay.
And I was going to ask, how'd you get it? Like, I wanted to know the secret, but obviously it was the impressions, don't you believe?
Well, that and some timing. The first time I actually auditioned for Mad TV, the very first year, I couldn't do it because I was locked in a deal with Fox. And at that time, Aaron Spelling was doing a show. I was locked in a deal with Fox, but we couldn't get nothing going. And by the time my deal was basically about to be up, Aaron Spelling did a pilot. Aaron Spelling was the creator of Beverly Hills 90210.
The man.
The man.
Yeah.
So he came up with a show that was basically like the Mod Squad. So I did that pilot. It was called Crosstown Traffic. It didn't go anywhere. But the president of the network at the time, Peter Roth, was such a fan of mine. He said, look, I don't want to let you go. I know we were supposed to give you your own show. We never really developed it, but I want you on this network. So he went back to the producers and said, put him on Mad. And by that time, Mad TV was going into its 3rd season. So I didn't even really audition for Mad TV the second time. They just went, we wanted you the first time, and now time and fate has done its thing. You on.
Oh.
Yeah.
Look at God. How do you feel when people say, because Mad TV was, when did you rap? 90.
I don't remember offhand.
Mad TV was quite some time ago then. We can say 20.
Well, it was on for 14 years.
Okay. Well, you weren't on it for 14
I was on for 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
And people love to say he fell off. Do you believe you fell off?
You know what's funny to me is the people that tell you they fell off, where are you at? I mean, I'm in the 50% tax bracket. I got
still to this day?
To this day. And
to this day.
To this day. And if you did a total on my yearly income, I have 2 commas on my check. To the people that say I fell off, how many of you have on yours? I've been to Africa twice. I've been all over Europe. I've been to Australia. I've been to Dubai. You know what I mean? And I'm not bragging or boasting. I'm just trying to put this in perspective. I don't remember the last time I've ever had to wait in line to get into a place. Most times I go, people off love go, Aries Spears, my man. Boom, drink on the house, food on the house. And every now and then, I get some pussy. A lot of it. So fell off
a lot
to what?
Don't sound like every now and again.
Well, regardless. Okay. Fell off to what? Like, what is falling off? Like I'll go next year and go, I got a show in Dubai. I'm making 5 figures for one show, 20 minutes of work. You sit in a cubicle and you listen to a boss. You've never pursued your dreams because most people don't pursue their dreams out of fear and they don't know how. And it's crippling. The worst thing you can do is have a dream and get up every morning and go to a boss and be told what to do. Nobody tells me what to do. So fall off to what?
So I think when people say fall off, it's because they don't see you. So do you believe that comedians need to be seen, or entertainers need to be seen in order to have a certain stature in their field?
Well, that depends on what defines your happiness. You know, my first real manager was Norm Nixon, Storm and Norman, won a couple of championships with the Lakers, Debbie Allen's husband. And he always used to tell me, don't let this business define your happiness. You know, I saw a clip of Mark Curry. I think he was on a Mike and Donnie show.
He was.
And so many of the people in the comments were writing, oh, he's just mad, and he's just mad because he's not relevant. It's like, this nigga had his own show. He makes more doing stand-up than you probably make in a year. Irrelevant to what? You know what I'm saying?
But what if they're comparing him to Steve Harvey? They're seeing.
No.